one reason why we've gone for reindeers. There's a special person or a special furry fella called Sven for this movie, which would be
Frozen.
Frozen. Actually, another one of my favourites, I have to confess.
Yeah, it's a good one. It is a good one. Great songs in it too. Do you want to build a snowman?
I'm going to let you do the singing. That isn't my bag.
No? Oh well.
Well, I've been told it's
I won't
not.
sing Let
I
It
happen
Go.
to believe.
All right. There's
Now,
been an
speaking of
injunction.
Speaking of letting go, we thought that would be one of the key themes from Frozen, effectively.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting when you think about the film about this young girl who has these powers, incredible powers, but has been told to push them down and not show it to anybody. And many people have grown up in households or been in schools or just society in general where they've got their own superpowers that aren't accepted. And so they've had to push their real selves right down. And I think that's part of the reason why the film and the song Let It Go really resonates with a lot of people.
I think there is that. I think there is just in general the idea being sometimes that, and especially at Christmas, and it kind of links in with our previous podcast with Home Alone, where there are times when you just have to not react and not push it down as such, but effectively allow yourself to not be drawn into something that ultimately is out of your control. And that can be really hard at Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it can be quite an emotive experience being with all those people that you grew up with. But I also think that people that have known you since you were little will always see you as that little person. And being the youngest in my family, my brothers and sisters used to call me baby, and it just you laughing.
Well, do you know what just popped into my head? Dirty Dancing. Do
yeah,
not
I
put
know,
baby in the
I know. Don't put, yeah, but I was that person. Don't put me in the corner. It just made me really feisty. My brother didn't treat me like a baby, but my sisters did, and they still kind of do, and it just winds me up. It just completely winds me up because I'm almost 50. I'm not the baby anymore, But it is interesting when people see you as that person, but you've moved on so far since then.
Yeah. But actually, going back to your original points, and I think it was interesting that we both took different things from that. But that feeling of effectively hiding yourself until the point where you can feel that you can reveal yourself in a way that you don't actually care what the response to that is.
Yeah. And I think that needs to be within reason as well, because when I in my late teens or early 20s, I was clear on who I was, but I wasn't diplomatic about it. I was a bit more, I would say, aggressive, aggressively mean. And with that came issues, meaning upsetting people. Whereas I think the older you get, hopefully you become more diplomatic and think, okay, that's all right for you, but that, it's still going to upset them. So what I'm talking about here is cultural clashes. So my parents being Malaysian Indian and me being British Malaysian Indian, there's going to be cultural clashes there being brought up British. And so whereas in my 20s, I'd be like, well, this is how I'm going to do things, now I'd probably compromise a little because it's important to them. And although it's not important to me, if I'm in their house and I want to spend time with them, yeah, it's their traditions. So,
it's
I get it
interesting how you born. Yeah, but it's almost as if you are the opposite of me in some senses. You took it as initially it's that superpower and being true to yourself and letting yourself be who you are, which you've said that you did in your 20s, to now where you've almost softened and you're letting it go in the sense that I described, which is, I don't need to fight that battle this time. I'm just going to accept what that is. Whereas I think I'm actually the flip of that. I think it's only taken me to my 40s to actually feel like, yeah, I can say what I feel and I can say what I think without worrying so much about what everybody else thinks and what everybody else might take from that. And I think and again, it comes back to, again, what you said, which was having that vocabulary and that language to be able to talk. And you talked about diplomacy, but actually for me, it's just being able to go, I can feel like this and I can speak my truth, but I can also appreciate that somebody else can have a different perspective and can have a different truth. And that's okay too. And it's that thing about having multiple truths at the same time, isn't it?
That's it. And I think whereas in my 20s it would lead to clashes, now it's more a case of, okay, I'm a bit more kind of, well, they know that's not for me and that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they also, what was that, sorry?
And you don't need to have that battle.
Exactly, because part of it is me, but also part of it is them, because with them it was a case of, you must do this, you must do that, and if anyone says must to me, rebel, I just rebel straight away. Whereas now it's like, oh, if you want to, you don't have to, kind of thing. They know that I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. Yeah. So I suppose it's both sides to it, really.
So if we could take one thing away from Frozen, what would you take away from this conversation?
Well, I think from the film, the key thing for me is being true to yourself and really revealing who you are. But that doesn't mean you have to drop everyone in your life in order to be who you are. You can have both, but there needs to be compromise on both sides.
Yeah, agreed. Well, on that note, I'm going to go build a snowman.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.